welcome in. This is our full moon in Sagittarius reading. I just got back from a bushwalk and it is getting really cold really quickly. So hopefully I won't have to turn the heater on. I've got the lapel mic set up here just in case. So if I do have to turn the heater on, then hopefully you'll be able to hear my voice over the roar of the heater. I've got all of our cards right over here, and we are going to clarify with the Rider-Waite. I don't really have a whole lot else to say, so I guess just a little bit about the setup. Not every pile has the same amount of cards, and some of the piles, well, we'll see when we get there. I actually have no idea how I'm planning on doing the read or like reading them out. I set up the piles and I am just going to let my intuition flow and guide me through the reading. So without further ado, let's put our focus here on pile number 1. All right. Hello, welcome pile number 1. You chose this card right here, and it says, I am rediscovering the art of allowing my natural well-being. All right. It says, we call this discipline the art of allowing. It is the art of allowing the well-being which makes up every particle of that which you are and that which you come from, to continue to flow through you as you continue to be. All right, so it looks like for pile number 1 that this new moon and the next sort of 10 days, we've got a lot of astrological events going on in the next 10 days. So, this reading covers both the new moon and then like the next 10 days following. All right, so let's dig in and take a look at the cards that are here. We have 2 cards here from the New Age deck. So we have the 6 of activation, so the 6 of swords, and the Sage of portals. So that is cups. The Page of Cups. I'm rediscovering the art of allowing my natural well-being. So what these cards say to me is that this full moon is really about allowing ourselves to get back into, and I might be moving around a bit here. All right. Allowing ourselves to get back into this state of flow, rediscovering and reconnecting with our sense of 5-dimensional self. And through that process, we get to this sort of seed of, I don't know, this reminds me of, the portals that you see in those really intense DMT drawings. And it reminds me also of, not actually the pineal gland, but more so at the Bindu chakra, the allowing that universal connection through Bindu. So if you don't know what the Bindu chakra is, you might want to do a little bit of research about that. But I feel like through a period of sort of relaxing and like coming and really working with that the idea of flow. That is how you're going to end up being able to experience these more deeper connections here through the Bindu chakra. So that should allow for, it's almost like it allows you the grounding, cosmic grounding is, I guess, what I would call it. Cosmic grounding through Bindu chakra. Okay. The next card that we have is the Page of Wands to the Knight of Wands. So this is the in-between tarot. So it says that right now you're in this period of transitioning between Page to Knight. And obviously this is like a card of a graduation. And with Wands being the element of transformation, what it's saying to me is that what this full moon is about you transitioning into a bit more, pages are, they're great initiators, but they aren't ready for battle, right? Like the knights are. The knights are ready to take something and carry it through to the king and queen energy. So for pile number one, this is about taking that time to let go and to come back into that more natural state of being. So to allow our cosmic consciousness to arise naturally rather than it being something that is like intentionally set out or sought out. So in allowing it to arise naturally, you know, with the Page of Wands, I consider it like, you know, like a lightning strike of inspiration. Like it's like the spark that starts the fire, and the Knight of Wands is like the kindling that is going to get that fire sort of built up to a stage where it can actually start doing a lot more of that transmutation. So that's a really lovely place to be. Next we have the King of Wands in reverse and the Knight of Swords. So the King of Wands is somebody who is really, really focused, and they're also somebody who can be quite dominant. You know, they can be, you know, a fighter, a lion here we have in the background, as this guy's sort of spirit animal. So with the King of Wands in reverse and the Knight of Swords here, the Knight of Swords is about a lot of thoughts. Swords represent thoughts. And with this guy, he's sort of like running for his motorbike, like he needs to go take off somewhere. The King of Wands can be, in reverse, very unfocused. So what this is saying to me is that, you know, the beginning of the reading, we talked about the art, rediscovering the art of allowing. So I think that this is saying that in order for you to sort of come into to have that more cosmic consciousness, and be connected through the upper chakras, that we need to sort of let go of some potentially toxic thoughts, potentially thoughts about, like, they're unfocused thoughts, and it is that being in those sort of thought patterns that are causing some challenges right now with that universal connection. Okay. Let's pull this card out again about the allowing, and we'll dig in a little bit deeper on this particular card. So I'm rediscovering the art of allowing my natural well-being. Okay, so what is hindering this allowing at the current time? We have the King of Pentacles in reverse, so a lack of stability, potentially even a lack of resources, and a lack of the truth, a lack of like the Two of Wands is sort of looking out into the future. The Three of Wands is looking out into the future as well, but they aren't the same energies. The Three of Wands has more grounding. Like if you think of a pole, or I guess just geometry in general, something with two sides, two legs, is not as stable as something with three legs. So with something with two, you can build a two-dimensional surface, whereas with something with three, you can build a three-dimensional surface. So the challenge right now is not having that stability and groundedness and potentially resources in order to create this like art of allowing and natural flow for your spiritual development, and to increase your powers and bring out what is natural to you. So all of your natural gifts. Okay. So I then want to take a look at what needs to be focused on. And I pulled the Chariot in reverse first. And sorry, I pulled the Page of Cups first, or Ten of Cups first, and then the Chariot second, but I sort of put them the other way around on the table. Either way, the challenge here is not driving towards what it is that you think is going to bring you happiness, contentment, and success, and instead moving into that state of receptivity and allowing. All right, what's interesting was I thought that was going to be enough for this reading, and I was like, oh, should I grab an affirmation? Should I do an affirmation card as well or not? Blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, no, I've got too many cards already to be reading, because I don't want to make this like a 2.5 hour read. But now I'm thinking, I do want to give you an affirmation card. We've actually had a couple that came out. I'm going to put this one away. These two really it says, I believe in my spiritual connection and am free to dream. Okay, so that really does sit with the theme of the reading here for you, pile number one. The other affirmation to be using over the next 12 days is, I am worthy of experiencing magic in my life. So I think using those affirmations and doing some meditation of just allowing, so not having a specific goal with respect to that meditation, like whether you're sitting, or some people, if you're new to meditation sessions, you could just be lying down, but just not even necessarily focusing on your breath. If you need to do that, focusing on your breath, like watching the inhales, watching the exhales for the first 2 or 3 minutes, go ahead if it helps you settle your nerves. But what I would do is I would just create a bit of time, maybe work with these affirmations. I believe in my spiritual connection and I'm free to dream. It's a beautiful one for overnight. And then the second, I am worthy of experiencing magic in my life. So bringing yourself to a state of ease and relaxation and meditation, and then saying this affirmation that you're worthy of experiencing magic in your life, and then just sitting there or lying there and allowing that connection to the cosmos and to the universe to establish itself, rather than sort of forcing or trying to find tools or something stable or what's the truth. That seems to be the challenge here with both of the Knight of Pentacles and the Three of Wands coming up in reverse. We can't drive ourselves to happiness, like the Chariot is saying here. It's something that has to well, from a psychological perspective, that's not exactly true. I was going to say it's something that has to come from within us, but we do have some level of control. But it seems like what the focus for pile number 1 is, at least over the next 2 weeks, and I will try to get on and do a new moon reading, is to focus on that sense of allowing and to work with the receptivity with the universe. And good luck, guys. See you next time. Okay, let's move these out of the way. All right, welcome in pile number 2. Okay, I'm already having cards spill out. Okay, so just so we can take a look here, we have the Page of Swords, and then the moon coming in as a crossing energy. So I'm just going to reach over and grab your pile of cards, and we can see how these cards that jumped out of the deck at me relate to your reading. So you chose this card right here, which says, "It is natural for my body to be well." And the back says, "You don't have to think specific positive thoughts about your body, but you have to not think any specific negative thoughts. If you could never again think about your body and instead just think pleasant thoughts, your body would reclaim its natural place of wellness." Okay, so so what this is saying to me with the Page of Swords here and the moon coming out is that pile number 2 is struggling right now with this isn't medical advice, but it's just what I'm seeing, what's coming up in the reading. So it seems as though pile number 2 is struggling with some mental health challenges. So maybe that is the moon can be a lot of unconscious thoughts. It can be, it can sort of be things that are dark and repressed as well. And the Page of Swords is obviously a card about investigating. So let's take a look at what other cards have come out for you and see if I can unpack this a little bit more. So we only pulled one card. So like I said, some piles have more cards than others. From the Golden New Age Tarot, this is the card that we've pulled, and it is the Six of Light Codes. So what I'm seeing here, like, you see how she's got all of this, sort of this fruit. It looks like she's wearing all of this fruit as a crown. It's something that she's grown, and it's something that nourishes her mind. So, and then we've got, okay, so what pile 2 needs to focus on over the next, I've said that this reading is sort of like for the next 12 days. Pile number 2 needs to focus on what it is that nourishes their mind. And I'm going to see if...
Hello, Moto.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize that I had my phone turned on. Okay. So what's coming out is a Knight of Wands. And so immediately that tells me that there's a lot of heat right now. There's a lot of like investigating these hidden or deep emotions, investigating what is hidden is causing a lot of heat, maybe even anger to arise. And so you know, it also occurs to me here that up here in this star chakra, we've got a bee, and bees work really hard together, and they work by being in sync. So when one bee finds a really good food source, it will come back to the hive and it will tell the other bees how to get to that food source. So when we find what nourishes our mind, it may be saying that that working with a supportive community might be helpful for you right now. And that is going to, so we've got all of these, the orange and that fiery color up here. So to ground in some of this heat, this tapas energy that's coming up from investigating what's hidden, it's going to be, it might be quite beneficial for you to work with other groups of people, or even joining like online training classes, or even just some forums that look at, you know, tools that can help you with the mental anguish that you're going through right now. So let's take a look and dive deeper into what this anguish is about. And this is the in between tarot, and we have the star to the moon. and it's come out in reverse. So we've got two, so that really means the moon to the star. We've got the moon here as the challenge. So the star is all about healing, and the star card to me, I mean, other readers do read it as like, you know, being a star, or some people read it as what is like sort of like your hopes and dreams, wishing on a star. For me, the star card is really about healing and nourishing ourselves through, you know, through our ancestor line. And with the card here, it says to me that, you know, like, this is more about more grounded energy, right? We've got the fruits and the vegetables and things that are grown in the earth. So it's more of an earth element that is going to be healing at this time, rather than, you know, working with this sort of investigative energy, or using this investigative energy to find something that is more grounding for your healing journey. All right, let's take a look at what else has come out here for you. We've got the Three of Pentacles and the Four of Swords. So this says to me that the Three of Pentacles is about what we are building, right? Right here you can see that you've got all of these generations, and they're all sort of working on this one little project together. The Four of Swords is about resting and recuperating, and it's really it's about the sarcophagus that they used to make the knights go into in order for them to have an epiphany about what they're about. I think that it was a bit sort of like the indigenous, where they go in and they're supposed to be having some visions or whatever, and then they come back and they talk to the king and the Hierophant about what it is that they had a vision about. And usually that was about some sort of, you know, loyalty to the king. You know, this could say that right now, that working with the family to create this nice little nest is going to be positive and beneficial for you. It could also mean that right now you need to be nested up from these sort of energies. So let's take a look. Yeah, so the next card that's come out is the Two of Swords, right? So the Two of Swords is, you know, she's sort of blindfolded here, and she's being pulled in two very different directions. So that's interesting, right? Normally I would read the cards, especially these two, sort of coming out as a sequence. But what it says to me is essentially that there is some being pulled here in two different directions. And one is sort of to burrow up on your own, like the girl here in the Four of Swords, so that you can come to your own spiritual awakening and epiphany. And the other is to be working on these sort of community projects, more physical projects, maybe even, you know, work projects, with a larger group of people. So what words of advice can we offer pile number 2 about how it is that they can make and overcome this choice. So coming back here to look at the, you know, we've got the star to the moon, but it came out the other way. The moon to the star. Okay, so this also gives me another indication of where we're going here, pile number 2. The moon is like the feminine, the mothering energy, and the star is our sons. And so we need to be like, it's what's unconscious and what's hidden here that is really the source of the problem. And I think what is going to help, I don't think I need to pull any more cards actually. I think I'm pretty much ready to wrap this up. What's going to help pile number 2 is really looking into the, you know, like busy bees, joining a community who have these grounding fruits, these nurturing ideas about what it is that brings you back to your natural sense of well-being. What makes you feel well? Like, we all know, you know, you're feeling torn right now or having challenges here with making a choice in these two separate energies. You know intuitively what makes you feel well. So you need to have the fire and the energy of the Knight of Wands here in order to be able to make the best choices for yourself. All right, I have pulled for the other pile some not manifestation, some affirmation cards. So let's grab an affirmation card for pile number 2. What affirmation can pile number 2 work with over the next 2 weeks? It says true manifesting. Whoop. True manifesting is about what is best for all. Wow. It's really interesting because I feel like this is a bit counter. This affirmation card is a bit counter to the card that we've pulled here, which is about being well. But let's go back to this card and see if we can work through and rectify this. Because, you know, let's see. True manifesting is about receiving what is best for all. Receiving, not giving. It's about receiving what is best for all. Okay. So what pile number 2 has to work through and clear up here. So it's not necessarily about giving what's best for all. It's about, which is sort of, you know, like building and grounding in. It's about receiving what's best for all. So moving more into this state of like the sarcophagus and getting the downloads here about what's best for all. Sixes are all about teaching and teachers, so I do think that at this time that the hive in the community and making sure that you've got the right community around you so that you can receive what is best. When we're receiving what's best for ourselves, then we're able to receive what's best for all. But receiving what's best for all, when we come back here and we look at the original card that we picked, it was about all of us, right? And it said, you don't have to think specific positive thoughts about your body, but you have to not think specific negative thoughts. So if we wanted to consider our body, like all of its different functions and aspects and parts, our, circulatory system, our reproductive system, our digestive system, we need to think about receiving what is best for all of those systems and what it is that we can do to nourish them. All right. I am just called to grab one more message. I did pull 2 for pile number 1. See if there's another message here that we can use. Maybe something that pile number 2 can use as a mantra for the next 2 weeks until the new moon. Is there a mantra? I share my energy of abundance by wanting more for others. I share my energy of abundance by wanting more for others. All right, pile number 2. I hope that this reading was helpful. It does seem like, with this star to the moon, this is sort of the transitional energy and the transitional time that you're going through right now. And the moon can, in its positive aspects, is about, continuing on this journey, right? So you've got the crab coming out of the water, and he's supposed to be following this path. And even though it's dark, and even though it's treacherous, and even though he's not exactly sure what he's doing, he's called you to keep going. The moon to the star. The other thing that this is saying to me is that if the star is like these hopes and dreams and desires, and the moon is more of that, like being in the flow and that more feminine energy and emotional depth, that right now we maybe need to move out of that egoic sort of energetic drive and do a bit more allowing. When we plant seeds, it takes a while for things to get to harvest. And so hanging in there, finding your tribe, finding out what it is that grounds and nourishes you, making sure that you're in the right community, and not being too selfish, but also understanding without being selfish, manifesting for you and for other people. And did I pop the other? I've already popped the other. Oh, I haven't. I share my energy of abundance by wanting more for others. I share my energy of abundance by wanting more for others. Seeing ourselves, true manifesting is about receiving what is best for all. So I hope that that helps pile number 2. I think that you are being challenged here right now, but and being pulled in these separate directions. Allow yourself to be nested and grounded in that community. Make sure you're choosing a community that is nurturing for you. And if you know, once you know what that path is for you, get on the path. Don't let any of the challenges or any of your fears hold you back from moving towards what it is that you know is right for you. All right, pile number 2. We'll see you shortly. Hello, welcome in pile number 3. You chose this card right here. It says, when I reverse the thought, I reverse the condition. So what sort of conditions are we talking about? We'll have to dive into it a little bit deeper. The card reads, there is no condition so severe that you cannot reverse it by choosing different thoughts. However, choosing different thoughts requires focus and practice. If you continue to focus as you have been, to think as you have been, and to believe as you have been, then nothing in your experience will change. Okay, let's look first of all at your in-between card. So this is from the In-Between Tarot. You have strength to the Hermit, but in reverse. So from the Hermit to strength. The Hermit is all about, the Hermit is about seclusion, but I also read the Hermit card a lot as sort of, we're not holding our light in our heart center, right? His light is guiding him, but he's got it in a lantern, and the lantern is sort of out in front of him. So sometimes I can see the Hermit as sort of being externally focused or externally led, even while in that Hermit mode, like in that, with the period of being withdrawn. So the Hermit to the Strength card is saying that, like, the strength is about having control over those innate desires, are taming our mind, not allowing our lower chakras or our emotions to get the best of us, and to cause like acting out. In the traditional card, she's taming the lion. She's subduing the lion, and the lion represents sort of that fierce, can be anger or jealousy, It can also be, yeah, just about those base chakras sort of moving without us having like a balanced awareness and intuition. Okay. The next card that we have is the Three of Light Codes. So light codes are cups in the deck, and actually I've done like, well, 2 readings. Sometimes I have to check, and I don't know why. I'm just being like, check, make sure you're right. Sorry, light codes are wands. All right. So we've got here the Three of Wands card, and I guess I checked that because it was important for me to understand the context in terms of the original Rider-Waite. And so the Three of Wands in the traditional Rider-Waite is about seeking truth, seeking transformation through truth is what I would say. Figuring out what is true and then seeking transformation based on that truth. What I'm noticing about this card here is how all of these light codes move up here to this heart. And so I think what you're being called to do is to move out of hermit mode, move back, so that you're not secluding yourself to have strength, but if you want to be secluded, that it comes from a place of strength and through love, through unconditional love. Let's take a look at what other cards we have here for you. Okay, I didn't realize that I pulled 4. When I was pulling the cards, I just allow what came out for each pile to come out. So we've got a bit of a story here, and we'll unpack this for you. So the first card is the Six of Cups. The second card is the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So let's just work with these 2 cards for now. So the Six of Cups is a card all about nostalgia. It can be about naivety. It can be about wishful thinking, I suppose. You know, you see here this little boy, and he's sort of dreaming about growing up and being old with this dog. But I suppose what's naive about this situation is that obviously when he's this old, his dog will be dead. And I don't know why. This is just coming out. This is coming out. So the dream that he's having is not a realistic dream. The Nine of Pentacles card is about independence, and it's also about sort of having the foundations within ourselves, and a lot of times that actually just means skills in order to manifest everything that we need and to have more than enough abundance. So what we have so far is some sort of naivety or wishful thinking or dreaming, and that way of thinking is not skillful. It's not leading to any abundance here. Okay. So the next cards that we have pulled are Justice and the King of Swords. Justice is about balance. It's about what is fair. It's about it's also about sort of what comes up must come down as well. When you put a weight in this side on a scale, the other scale moves in sync with one of the things that I find interesting about this card is that it implies a bit of self-reflection because of how there's like a reversal on the card. So this aspect of justice, which you don't see in the Rider-Waite, digging more deeply into this specific deck, is about internal self-reflection about what we've done and the consequences of our actions. The King of Swords is a call to logic and wisdom, and to, I think it's asking us here to take a look at and reflect on the modes of logic and wisdom that we've used, particularly around this sort of like naivete. So wrapping this back up with the Strength to the Hermit card in reverse. So we've got Hermit to Strength. It sounds to me like the next 3 weeks are a lot about going through that internal reflection and transformation, looking at our modes of thinking, like weighing up our logic and seeing where our naivete has led us in the wrong direction with regards to our stability. Thinking about how when we pull back in order to create strength, that we are not actually allowing ourselves to get to the truth and the heart of the matter. So instead of pulling back in it as a coping mechanism for not having the ability to control our emotions or to control our lower chakras, we need to work on what unconditional love is and the truth of how unconditional love is the proper foundation for transformation of those systems in our life. So tying it all back into our original card, when I reverse the thoughts, I reverse the condition, what it's saying to me is that pile number 3 really can make a lot of headway this next 2 weeks with transforming the logic and the systems that they use if they spend the time reflecting on what it is that hasn't worked in the past, and then going about removing and pulling back, undoing those systems of logic and choices that they've made, and doing that from a place of strength, so that when we do go into hermit mode, when we do go into self-reflection, that we're reflecting from our own, with our own fire lit, right? We're in our heart center. We're not externalizing our flame. So let's grab 1 or 2 cards here. These are the ones that have jumped out at me. Okay, So these are affirmations that you can use. They're things that you can use in meditation. You maybe just want to write them on a journal, pop them on your mirror, and take a look at them when you're brushing your teeth every day. The first one says, embrace the habit of love and release the habit of fear. So that ties in quite nicely here with what I've been saying about how we want to have our strength come not from withdrawing from an external perspective. So embrace the habit of love and release the habit of fear. And your second is, when I am connected to spirit, I will be at ease. When I'm connected to spirit, I will be at ease. All right, pile number 3. I hope that helps. I will see you at the new moon, and good luck, and talk to you soon. Okay, welcome in pile number 4. You chose this card here, little bird flying, and it says, I will do my best to make the best of it. Now, what was really interesting is when I was sorting through the piles and organizing the cards, you had you've had 2 jumpers. So it tells me that there's a lot here that Spirit wants to communicate with you. And the card that jumped out when I was just shuffling my clarification deck was the 4 of Swords in reverse. So 4 of Swords is about a time of rest, recuperation, and rejuvenation. And so in reverse, that tells me that, look, maybe you're in a period where you want to be resting and recuperating, and you really don't have the ability because of what's going on in the external environment. Maybe you're really busy at this time. We'll see what else this, it seems quite important because it jumped out of the deck at me. So I'll read the back of the card for you. It says, a key to regaining your feelings of empowerment is to decide right now that no matter how good or how bad you are feeling, you're going to do your best and to make the best of it. Do that again and again, and in a short period of time, you will find yourself in a very good feeling place. All right, this is awesome because it seems like it's almost like this reading might be the opposite of pile number 1. So that's going to be kind of interesting. All right, let's dig in a little bit further here. Okay, so let's move on to the other cards that jumped out of the deck. So throwing cards around. All right, so throwing things around. 5 of Wands. 5 of Wands is a card about conflict. And sometimes it's just about jousting, like jockeying for position. What's interesting is that with this particular deck, I always see this card as like neurons. And I don't know why. That's just what comes out at me, like the neural connections in our brain and how they're firing, I guess, with this like orange colored energy in the card, and this torch up here. So what this is saying to me right now is that your brain is sort of firing in all different directions. And with this rest card in reverse, it seems like you're unable to get the rest and time to reflect that you need, maybe because the brain is overactive. The other card that came up for you is the Three of Cups in reverse. Three of Cups is joy, celebration, community, celebrating achievements. So it seems to me that your focus right now is on a lack of achievement, a lack of things to celebrate, and that you're being sort of very hyper focused in this area. Our transition card is the Ace of Cups to the Two of Cups. So the cups are about love. Ace of Cups is about sort of, that's the heart of unconditional love. It's when your cup is full enough and flowing over that you have enough within yourself emotionally to give to others. So what the focus for you should be on, pile number 4, is getting yourself to a place where you have enough to give so that you are ready for Two of Cups, which is partnership. So here you can see she's taking the time to fill her cup so that she has enough emotions and water to share with the village. And the last card that we have for you is the Muse, and it says tickled by the free spirit, and that has come up in reverse. So it tells me that in a way you've lost a partner. It may be that you've gone through a breakup recently, and that this was a person that was, quite meaningful to you. Maybe you were working on some projects together. Maybe you were working on something here to celebrate, and that has gone sour, or because of the breakup that you aren't able to, maybe the relationship broke down because those projects weren't coming together. One of the things that I always notice in this card is, the mudra that she's got, the way that her hands are, right? She's got one hand up towards the upper chakras, and the other, let's see if I can keep my shoulders down, and the other hand pointed down. And when we come away from a significant relationship in our life, we can often have been relying on that other person or that other partner to assist us in balancing our chakras where we struggle to balance our own. Like, that's a lot of the reason why people come together, right? I might be, super organized and well planned ahead, and then I might be attracted to somebody who's got more creativity and more freedom and doesn't like structure. So those opposites can attract. And so when we're in those relationships, we sometimes become dependent on the balance of the other person to, that's the beauty and joy of being in a relationship and being in a partnership. However, when we come out of those relationships, we need to learn how to pick up and work through our and balance ourselves on our own. And so I think that the big call right now for pile number 4 is to find out ways that they can become their own muse, and to really work on those things that they see and like in other people, and try to integrate that into their own being. I've done a lot more channeling here than card reading. So one of the things that's going to be for this pile is working on thoughts that bring us joy. So when we've got the jockeying here of positions for different ways that we're thinking, what's really going to be helping pile number 4 is making sure that they're choosing thoughts that do bring them, working really on gratitude practices. I'm going to shuffle the Rider Waite and see if I can get any more messages here for pile number 4. Okay. Okay, we've got the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, and then the Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Pentacles is about loyalty and stability, and so it tells me right now that really what your thoughts have been focused on is either a lack of loyalty or thoughts about having some sort of lack of stability in your life. And what your focus needs to be on over the next 12 to 14 days is learning how to fill your own cup, and to be able to develop that sense of gratitude within you, so that you know that you have the ability to work through these challenges on your own, and to fill your own cup, so that you have something that you can share with others. A mantra that the focus needs to be really on I'll do my best to make the best of it. And let's see if we can get any other affirmation cards here that will help pile number 4. Okay. So we've got, I am in vibrational alignment with the love of the universe. I am in vibrational alignment with the love of the universe. Truth will show up for me when I am in tune with my spirit. Truth will show up for me when I am in tune with my spirit. Today I will commit to love and joy, and my energy will flow. All right, pile number 3. It sounds like you're going through a really hard time, but I do see that you are very much focused right now on trying to make the best of the situation. I know it seems really challenging right here, not having the opportunity to contemplate on the situation, not really getting that rest and time to reflect that you need. But if you focus on gratitude, you're going to be able to work through the situation as it comes up. So I'll just read these sort of mantras or inspirations for you again. You might want to write them down. I am in vibrational alignment with the love of the universe. Truth will show up for me when I am in tune with my spirit. Today, I will commit to love and joy, and my energy will flow. All right. Good luck, pile number 4. We'll see you at the new moon. Rest up and go with the flow. Okay, welcome in pile number 5. I've had a couple of jumpers here while I've been shuffling the Rider-Waite deck, which I was planning on using for clarification. So let's just start off here with the card that you've chosen. It says, I am a physical extension of source energy, and you've got this beautiful sunflower here. So I'll read it for you. It says, everything in your physical environment was created from non-physical perspectives by that which you call source. And just as source created your world and you through the power of focused thought, you from your leading edge place in this time-space reality are continuing to create your world. So the energies that came out when I was shuffling, first was the Knight of Swords, or the Nine of Swords, and then the Knight, or the King of Pentacles in reverse. So right now, this tells me straight away that what is manifesting in your reality right now is causing you some anxiety about your stability, about what it is that you are manifesting in the tangible realm. And we sort of get, you know, look at the colors on these cards really sort of match here with the blue and the anxiety, and then the yellow and the gold, and the pentacles and the sunflower. So what this tells me is that pile number 5 is struggling right now with, you know, they're really upset about what it is that they're manifesting in their lives. The transition card that we have for you is the 8 of Cups to the 9 of Cups. So the 8 of Cups is about walking away from what no longer serves you, and the 9 of Cups is about wish fulfillment. So, you know, it may be that you have sort of turned your back on what it is that you are actually desiring. Let's take a look at what other cards have come out for you, and I'll see if I can get deeper into this message. We have the Chariot and the 4 of Light Codes. So the Chariot is all about setting yourself apart. It is about driving something forward. And the Four of Light codes is really about a portal. So all of the fours are portals. The Four of Wands is a portal of transformation. So what you're driving is you are driving yourself in towards some sort of portal of transformation. And you're moving from something that you've had to leave behind to something that is going to bring you wish fulfillment with the transition between the, oh, this is interesting. I said cups, but this is coins. Interesting. Okay, well, now that that's turned up for me, I think that that is actually quite relevant. And I also just realized that I have pulled two transition cards for you. So let's dig into this message a little bit deeper. Transitioning from the Eight of Coins. Eight of Coins is when you're doing something over and over and over again, and you're perfecting your craft and your skill. So traditionally, he's sort of hammering away on those coins, and he's trying to make he's making coins, and he's trying to perfect his craft so that he can make all of these unique coins, all sort of the same. Moving from the Eight of Coins to the Nine of Coins is about, this star and this eagle here. So it's about having perfected your craft and now becoming more of a teacher, it's an opportunity to teach, right? Because the Nine of Coins is somebody who definitely has perfected their craft. They are truly grounded and stable, and they now have that opportunity to teach that to others. The next card that we have is the Four of Coins to the Five of Coins. This card was in reverse. So let's just talk about first the card being in the upright. So we can sort of work backwards to see what the challenge is here. The Four of Coins is all about sort of holding on to something too tightly, something in our physical realm, physical dimension. And the Five of Coins is about not having enough, not seeing the resources that are available to us, and very much feeling left out in the cold. So with this card in reverse, what it says to me is that the ideas, or maybe even the reality of not having enough or being left out, is what is causing you to grasp and to hold on to something. I guess with the Eight of Coins to the Nine of Coins here, this is a little bit about, we said here that there is anxiety about what it was that you had been manifesting, because the King of Pentacles here came up in reverse. And it's something that you've continued to do over and over again. In fact, it's something that you've become so well at. This is a really, it's an opportunity for you. But what this is really highlighting is some very negative aspect of, it's almost like a, poverty consciousness is the word that I was grasping for. It's a state of poverty consciousness that is turning up for you. And in order to move through the Five of Coins, we don't want to call attention to our weaknesses. So let's have a look at what other cards I pulled and see what else we can say about this transition here for you. Oh, wow. These are great cards. I mean, you got the Chariot and the Four of Wands here, which is really about you driving forward to create those portals. Now we have the Eight of Wands, the Sun, and the Ace of Wands. So this is a great energy. And it tells me that this fear that you have is really ungrounded, and it's probably not this idea that you don't have what you want or that you're ungrounded is probably a fallacy here. There is something here about calling you to let go of the grasping. You know, it's interesting, like, there's all of these rats on the floor here, which is kind of disgusting with these ladies, and they're like picking up the coins. So this is like, you know, just the scene on this card. It's like they're all dressed in white, which is a symbol of purity, but they're down here like with these rats on the floor. And at first I thought they were scrubbing the floor with these pentacles, but it seems like they're in this big empty room, like picking up these small amount of coins. I'm really feeling like pile number 5 is actually being called to focus on the Eight of Wands. Here is a card of like intense inspiration, right? You've got all of these sort of poles coming together in the center, and it's like an explosion of inspiration. The Sun is like arguably the best card in the deck. It's about, you know, warmth and like light and energy and celebration. And we've got the Ace of Wands as well, which, you know, is the card of that fire transformation. I really do feel like, you know, you need to acknowledge the transformation that you've gone through. And the Eight of Wands is typically a card about communication, like something that's fast moving. But what I see here is like all of these sort of lessons coming together. You've got the 8 here and you've got the 8 here. So it's like 8 is sort of infinity. This is like getting in, and again here we're talking about source energy. This is really about being asked to acknowledge all of the positive, valuable work that you've done here, like with these pentacle cards coming out, and to see yourself in this sun energy with going through this positive transformation, and maybe even here to teach or to be a guide for other people. And I think that's going to help you come out of this state of anxiety about the King of Pentacles in reverse, this anxiety or fear about not having enough or not having what you need, because you've got the skills here to do it, and the portal is open, especially over these next 2 weeks. The Chariot calls us to set ourselves apart, to grab the reins of the Chariot, and the portal is right in front of you. So pile number 5, do not hesitate. You have got everything that you need, and all you have to do is let go of what is no longer serving you. Like, let go of the 4 of Pentacles. You know, you've got 4 Pentacles and you're holding on because you maybe in the past went for the 5th Pentacle and then you were left out or abandoned, or you didn't make that leap, and so you've gone back to the 4 of Pentacles and you're clinging and you're holding on, and you need to be able to let go of that. You've learned the lesson. You've got everything that you need here. You've put all of the sparks together, and you're going to create this sun, and it's going to cause a huge and deep transformation for you. So this is a beautiful and amazing message. In fact, pile number 5, so far I haven't read for pile number 6 yet. This is the best message of the spread. So I am a physical extension of source energy. Know that you're source energy. Know that the spark is within you. Know that all of these beautiful things are coming in for you. Get over your worries. Drop what isn't serving you. I was going to pull some inspiration cards, but I think I'm actually ready to wrap it up. Like, that is such a great message. Just keep bringing it back to knowing that you're source energy, and knowing that you can get over whatever it is that has come up as a challenge. It's particularly in the last month. This is a full moon reading. So whatever has come up in the last month where you felt like you had to like go back to grasping to something, because you went to take that next step and it just didn't manifest for you, and you felt like you couldn't go to the 5. Don't worry about the 5. Like, just reach for the 9 here, because you've got this card in the upright. You're able to reach from the 8 to the 9, and the sun is here for you. Use this fiery transformational energy. Know that you are source, and you are continuing to create your world. All right, thanks, pile number 5. We will see you at the new moon. All right, welcome in pile number 6. You chose this card here, and it says, my emotions are vibrational interpreters. And I'll read the card for you. It says, Your eyes, your ears, even your nose, tongue, and fingertips are translating vibrations. But your most sophisticated of vibrational interpretations are by far your emotions. By paying attention to the signals of your emotions, you can understand with absolute precision everything you are now living or have ever lived. And when I was shuffling, the card that came out was the High Priestess in reverse. So it tells me that the challenge right now for pile number 6 is not paying attention to their wisdom, probably blocking their own intuition because they are not focused on listening to their emotions. And even, in this card, the lady is out sort of walking in nature, so not being in tune with the messages around us. Let's dig a little bit further. So the next card that came out when I was shuffling, and I think it's really important, this card was turned over, so it is the dominant energy, and it is the Ace of Swords. So the Ace of Swords is all about getting to the truth of the matter and coming up with some level of understanding, what is the truth? What is the right logic here? What is, she's got, like, you can see in the background here, there's all of these sort of sacred geometry symbols. So she's even got some equations down here, so a bit of logic going on, but really that's being fed into her through this light source, this connection here being sort of beamed into her brain. Okay, so the opportunity here seems to be this opportunity for proper logic, proper connection, and that seems to come up here with the High Priestess in reverse as well. So the challenge and the opportunity is to be able to connect with our higher wisdom, and to do that by seeking to connect with our intuition, to be able to sort of ground in, like she says, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, even your fingertips. So grounding in those sensational signals to awaken and heighten our intuition. Okay, I've pulled 2 transitional cards for you. We'll step through them one by one. The first one is the Knight of Wands to the Ten of Wands, and the second is the Six of Swords to the Seven of Swords. So let's talk about the first one. The Nine of Wands to the Ten of Wands. So the Nine of Wands is about being guarded. It is the Wounded Warrior card. It means that you have been through many battles and you know that there's still another battle ahead of you. And that next battle is the Ten of Wands. And the Ten of Wands is where we know that we're on the home stretch in terms of our transformation, in terms of gathering up that wood that we're bringing back to our cottage. We are almost there. Okay. The next card that we have is the Six of Swords to the Seven of Swords. And this is, this is kind of an intense image here. This is the the challenge ahead, it seems. The Six of Swords is about moving on, and the Seven of Swords is about lying, cheating, stealing, and about deception. You can see in this card right here, you know, you've got all of these people. They look like they're having some sort of seance on the beach. Reminds me of sort of secret societies here in the full moon. And you've got this this person right here with the dagger, and he looks like he's, you know, coming up to maybe make have an attack right here on these people on the beach. So this is a bit of a heavy message, but it is, you know, I guess if you have been going through any you know, gang stalking, intimidation, maybe even just sort of pushback at work, coworkers sort of working against you, that yes, you have been through a lot, and I don't know, one of the other readers that I watched, she said something the other day, and she's like, you know, when you're doing light work, the spiritual warfare doesn't go away. Like, as you level up, the attacks just level up as well. So that is really part of the journey, part of the process. But you're close to the end of it. You know, you're at the 9 of Wands, and you are moving towards the 10 of Wands here. Let's see what other messages we've got for you. We have got strength and the 10 of activations. And activations is the 10 of Swords. And the 10 of Swords is about the complete ending of something. And so what this is saying to me is that with the Strength card, that you have the ability, you know, we see it right here with the 9 of Wands to the 10 of Wands, you know, coming to the end of that phase of spiritual attack and spiritual warfare. This is the Strength card here, and you know, she's really using her ability to connect with the universe and to ground. And you know, you see her sort of right here between the earth and the heavens, and she is fully creating her own reality. She is, you know, she's creating it right there between her hands, with her in front of her heart chakra. This card says on it, infinite self-realization. And so what you're really being called to do over the next 2 weeks, pile number 6, is to, you know, we've got the 10 here, and we're moving from the 9 to the 10. So allowing ourselves to go through that period of, I shouldn't say period, like taking the time here to create our own reality and really ground in through the heart center, and realizing that we are infinitely self-reflecting back to ourselves what exists, and vice versa. And that is really going to open you up and clear up the challenge here with the High Priestess in reverse and turn that High Priestess around, because you've got the logic here and the opportunity to do so. The truth here is, and these downloads are ready and available for you over the next 2 weeks if you take the time to do this self-reflection. But it's going to require you to make sure that you're grounded in reality. You're using what is around you, your tactile senses. When you have an emotion, thinking about where do I feel that in my body, right? There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, and it's about how our trauma is stored in the body and how we can go through and use the body to release some of those traumas. So I do think for pile number 6 that incorporating some movement, whether that just be, walks out in nature or actually a yoga practice, is going to be beneficial for you over the next 2 weeks. But I do see, with the Ace of Swords here and the Strength card, that you have the power and the strength to do this. What's required here is the Six of Swords is about moving away, and I think potentially moving away from lying, cheating, stealing, moving away from, these moving away from what is going to disturb, whatever is currently disturbing or disrupting your intuition. Get rid of it. Maybe getting rid of or distancing yourself from groups who have the potential to cause challenges for you. I think withdrawing for pile number 6 over the next 2 weeks, as we come up to the next new moon, is going to be valuable for you. So I'm just going to pull a couple more cards here and see what it is that you can do to awaken that intuition, and see if we can get a little bit more of a story going here for you. Okay. So we have the World, which is completion, and I think that, that's really reflected here with the Strength card and the Ten of Wands, that it is, you have the strength and you have it within yourself. You have all of the tools that you need. You have the understanding here. You can connect to universal truth and knowledge and get these downloads. And so you have the ability to have freedom and to finalize or let go of what might be inhibiting you from moving on. I don't think that this is for all of you, but for some of you, I did get the download. Connecting sexually and having an orgasm might be good for you. But that wasn't not for everybody. That's just for some people. So if, there is some sexual tension there that is causing you some challenges, that might be the right thing for you. Okay, so in order for you to achieve the freedom of the World card and to end these cycles, to move past the Ten of Wands, to move from the 9 to the 10 and then get past the 10 itself. Okay, we're being asked to, the Page of Cups is, sometimes I use the Page of Cups and, it's just a simple statement, which is stupid. Or illusion is another card that I might use. So what we're seeing here is stupid logic with the Knight of Swords. And no reflection with the Four of Swords here in reverse. No reflection on stability. How does that tie into here with this card? I want to take a look at you do also see, how I said, like, I can't tell the age of the characters on these cards. I can't tell whether that's an adult and a child or two teenagers, or I'm not exactly sure. But let's say that, this is a romantic situation. For some of you, I did say, like, having that sexual union is something that might assist you in this transformation. And you see the sun here, this glowing orb in between them. So it may be that a partnership a romantic partner can really assist you at this time, especially if you are going through challenges at work where there is hidden agendas, falling back and allowing yourself to be supported by those around you, particularly a romantic partner, might be beneficial at this time. Excuse me. I just want to see what the connection here is. Ooh, it almost wanted to come out. There we go. Okay, so the connection between stupid logic, no waiting, no reflecting on stability, no reflecting on loyalty, and the Justice card here is the connection between that and this lying, cheating, stealing, and potentially backstabbing action here. I do feel that justice is going to be cold in this situation. And remaining in contact with infinite self-realization. So the Page of Cups is also about the beginning of emotions, right? And it was in reverse. So it tells me that one of the blockages here is that there was some emotional disturbance with the beginning of our logic system here with the King of Swords, and that there was a lack of waiting or a lack of giving something some time to get some downloads to create more stability in the situation. Your freedom, again, is going to come here through having infinite self-realizations and accepting this last transformation, like embracing the fact that we have to move from wounded warrior to the Ten of Wands, which is sort of the burden of all of the transformations that we need to carry, and that this situation is going to come to an end for you. I'm going to pull well, we'll just see how many affirmation cards we get out. I'm going to pull some affirmation cards for you for the next 2 weeks. Let's focus in here on, you know, the World and the Ace of Swords, and of course the Strength card here with, you know, really being in tune with your emotions and feeling that in your body and going through and doing the healing work that's required. Okay. The first one is, I am patiently waiting for the good the universe will deliver. I am patiently waiting for the good the universe will deliver. I am aligned in the moment and do not worry about the future. I am aligned in the moment and I do not worry about the future. So yeah, really just calling in this alignment that we have in the Strength card, and, you know, knowing that the universe is going to provide you with these downloads that you need in order to have an end and a resolution to the challenges. And that's going to, you know, really doing those grounding and working on the your emotional healing is going to open up the High Priestess energy for you and help you get back behind the veil, so that you have some foresight about how to navigate. You know, when we're sitting in that High Priestess energy, we see all that is and all of the energies at play, and because we see them, you know, we can navigate through them a lot easier. So take that time. The High Priestess is also about taking it slow, right? She's not moving, she's sitting, she's not active. So and we don't see a lot of action cards here for you, except for these wands, which are all about transformations. You know, the 9 of Wands and the 10 of Wands cards. I guess the 10 of Wands, he is moving back towards the house. He's gathered all of his logs. It's the last transformation of the suit of the Wands. All right, guys, I hope that helps. I will see you at the new moon. All right, catch ya.